Yo, what's up? It's your boy E. So today we'll be talking about Ad Nauseam in Modern. Let's get it. Welcome back to the channel, guys. If you are new here, I am E and I create MTG content and budget streaming content. So let's talk about Ad Nauseam in Modern. Ad Nauseam is a combo deck in Modern that has been fallen on the wayside. However, I do believe that it has more weight than what it is revealed in the meta right now. Simply put, the deck is underplayed and I think it is really good with the current meta being dominated by Uro piles and some counter decks thereof. So what is Ad Nauseam deck if you are new? So Ad Nauseam deck is actually a combo deck between the card namesake Ad Nauseam. It's 5 to cast instant, and it states that when you cast it, you may reveal the top card of your library. If it has a converted mana cost, you lose that much life, and then you put that card into your hand. You don't draw that card, you actually just put that card into your hand, which is key because some of the decks packs Narset, and this can work around that one. The other combo of the deck is actually Angel's Grace. Angel's Grace is 1 to cast instant, white, and it has split second. That means that whenever this is on the stack, your opponent can't do any abilities and spells. They can't put anything on the stack. Just note that this will still trigger the abilities. It's just activated abilities that it can't come to the stack. Angel's Grace states that you don't win the game. Your opponent doesn't win the game. You don't lose the game. Simply put, as long as that's within that turn, and any damage that would reduce your life to 0, reduce it to 1 instead. So that means if you're down to 5, your opponent attacks you for 10, your life total becomes 1. Alright, how this 2 works is that you lose life, you can draw the entire deck using your Ad Nauseam, no matter what the casting cost, because you can't lose the game here. And then you win the game previously only by Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm is actually just a 3 to cast instant card, and it states that it deals 3 damage, and then you can pitch land or discard a land into this specific card and it deals 2 additional damage. So if we do the math, the deck actually runs roughly about 18 to like 20 lands, and if we're running 20 and you need 5 lands into play, you have 15 lands into your library. That means that 15 times 2 is 30, 30 plus 3 is 33. Your entire combo deals an amount of 33 damage in total. Now, one of the reasons why it fell off the wayside is because combos right now also includes Infinite Life combo, which is right here, the Heliod Company combo. So therefore, your 33 damage won't cut it. However, with the recent improvement of the deck became more viable. Number 1, Thassa's Oracle. Thassa's Oracle is actually one of the staple of any of the combo decks out there. Twiddle Storm, even showing up in Belcher and Oops All spells from time to time. It states that whenever it comes into play, you actually look at the top card of your library equal to the number of your devotion. If the number of cards in your library is equal to your devotion, then you win the game, simply put. So the deck gives you an alternative win condition using Thassa's Oracle. Same with the combo with your Angel's Grace. And you also have Spoils of the Vault. Spoils of the Vault is basically an Ad Nauseam, but it's 1 to cast. However, it works in a way wherein you name a card and then you reveal the top card of your library until you reveal that named card, alright? And then exile the rest, put that revealed card onto your hand, and then you lose life equal to the number of cards revealed. Because you have Angel's Grace, you can't lose the game. Therefore, you can actually just name a card that's not existing in your deck, exile your deck, and cast Thassa's Oracle, right? The deck also has resiliency in the form of Fire Action Unlife. Fire Action Unlife is right here, and it states that it's a 3 to cast enchantment, 1 white, and you don't lose for having 0 or less life, and any damage subsequently dealt to you after your life total is 0 or less is dealt in poison damage instead. So simply put, in my initial example a while ago for Angel's Grace, if you have 5 damage and or 5 life and your opponent is attacking for 10, your life total becomes -5, and anything subsequent after that is dealt in poison damage. Obviously, you lose if you have 10 or more poison damage, so just keep that in mind. The thing with this card is that it works differently with Ad Nauseam, because Ad Nauseam doesn't really deal you damage, it loses you life. Therefore, you don't gain or accumulate any poison counters when those are in play. Alright, cool. That being said, the other major upgrade for the deck is the modal lands. So if you could see here, there is a pathway. Previously, this deck only runs the fast lands, and as I have mentioned on my other previous videos wherein the decks are reliant with the fast land, after your 3rd land, these fast lands become very slow. But because you already have this modal lands, the deck's consistency after your 3rd or 4th land becomes or multiplies hereafter. Alright, Now that's done, let's talk about sideboard. Your sideboard plan is very straightforward. Against discarder decks that packs Duress, anything that's black or Thoughtseize, you immediately board in your Leyline of Sanctity. Anything that packs Titans or creature based, you pack your Path to Exile or your Slaughter packs. Simply put. Now, you only have one permanent hate here in your sideboard, which is in the form of Echoing Truth. However, it is a multifaceted card. It's very flexible, and if you can protect it with your Veil of Summer, then you should be able to go off. You only need to use it during a combo win, alright? Or a combo win turn, or a turn before that one. The next question is, what are your flexi slots on the deck? Flexi slots are slots wherein I usually board out depending on the play or the draw. Now, I will elaborate my sideboarding plan on the article posted on the link in the description down below. However, this is your usual flex slot. Number 1, one Thassa's Oracle. Number 2, one of your Prismatic Prisms or one of your Lotus Blooms. And number 3, it's either one of your Pyrexian Unlife, or the last and certainly not the least is your Pact of Negation. So you usually board out your Pact of Negation whenever you're dealing against more creature heavy based decks or aggro based decks. Obviously, you leave them in if you're not dealing with those types of decks. Spell Pierce, 2 of them, additional disruption if your opponent is actually playing a counter heavy spell. The last thing that I want to talk to you about is on how to play the deck. Now, there are misnomers about the deck wherein you only need to cast your Ad Nauseam on the turn that you are going to win. However, the best part of this deck is that you can go off at instant speed. So to eliminate your opponent's effectivity of their Force of Negation, you can actually cast the Ad Nauseam and do the counter war during their turn. So let's say their upkeep, and then during your turn you can just Angel's Grace, then win out of that one. Remember that you are packing your Simian Spirit Guides, and therefore you can win at instant speed. Be careful of the life total as well, and be mindful of their life total, because they will be cavalier with their life total because they're expecting a Thassa's Oracle win. Alright, that being said, let's slide over to the gameplay, and here it is. Alright, welcome to round 1 of our game, playing Ad Nauseam. So we lost the die roll here. This one we're land light, so we're going to mulligan. This one is better. We're going to keep that one, bottom one Angel's Grace. Opponent goes first. They're playing black-red, so hopefully there's no hand disruption. So if you look at our hand here, we already have the win. If we don't get hand disrupted, we're going to win on turn 3. That's how awesome the deck is. The deck actually has a major boost with the addition of Thassa's Oracle, because you also have the line to go through Spoils of the Vault and then Angel's Grace, Spoils of the Vault, and then Thassa's Oracle. You can name a card outside of the game from Spoils of the Vault, exiling your library and play Thassa's Oracle. If Oracle resolves, or is like if you play Thassa's Oracle on the stack, their ability is on the stack, then we Spoils of the Vault, naming that non-existing card, you win the game. Even though if they killed Thassa's Oracle, it will still trigger for 0 since you don't have cards in your library. It states that you win the game. Alright, so we scry here. It looks like we can keep one Thassa's Oracle for redundancy purposes, which I will be keeping because our opponent is Rakdos. So I'm anticipating hand disruption. They fetched. That's a Croxa. We're going to discard Thassa's Oracle. This one is a bit tricky because if they have Surgical Extraction here, we are going to be in trouble. We're hoping for no hand disruption here, so that turn 3 we can win. That's a fetch from them. They're going to cast Liliana. We're going to discard Angel's Grace here. Alright, that looks like we're going to win. Hopefully there's no Surgical Extraction again. Let's draw a card for turn. Perfect. Seachrome Coast. Now let's execute the combo for the win. Angel's Grace, Spoils of the Vault, and name a card non-existing on our deck. Remove our deck from the game and cast Thassa's Oracle for the win. 0 cards in hand, 0 cards in library. Just exact. Nice. Let's go to game 2. Alright, this is game 2. We are on the draw again. Alright, how we sideboarded against them is we just put in Leylines of Sanctity and shaved a couple of combo cards, namely Thassa's Oracle, but we don't remove any of the Ad Nauseam and then the Angel's Grace, because that's the heart of the deck. So the reason why we board in Leyline of Sanctity is because I believe after sideboarding, they're going to board in a lot of like hand disruptions, because our card is, or our deck is combo oriented, hand combo oriented. That means you keep a card density in your hand, then go off. So a good way to disrupt that one is to reduce the hand size from your opponent. That being said, we have 2 Leyline of Sanctity here plus Ventant Prism. That means we are insulated against those hand disruption. Alright, our opponent is going to go with Fighting Needle. You can either name Pentad Prism or Lightning Storm. So Lightning Storm actually is a triggered or an activated ability. The second clause of the Storm is an activated ability. So that's the reason why they named it. That's one less win con for us. Nicely played. We're going to play City of Brass here and then pass the turn. Match. They get in a Magmatic Channeler. So they need to get a bit of some sort of pressure for us. So to me, this one display is suboptimal because we took damage and we don't have either an Angel's Grace or a Paraction Unlife here. So that means that every point will be, when you're playing Ad Nauseam, you play with the amount of life in mind because you can go for a naked Ad Nauseam. That means that you don't have a protection like Angel's Grace, or the Paraction Unlife, and your Ad Nauseam so that you can recoup the cards in your hand and hopefully get those cards or draw those cards so you can go off next turn. That's why it's on instant speed, right? The downside to this one is that you need to know the average life total cost of your deck. So post-board, when you post-board with Leyline, you actually increase the life total or like the damage your deck can output. So previously, when you're just playing Ad Nauseam, you only have 4 cards which have 5 mana cost. That means that if you played Ad Nauseam, there's only about 3 cards left. That would roughly translate like 6% or less. Now for you to draw that one, and your average damage would be around 1 or 2 per card. By putting in Leyline, you increase that to 3 to 4 average damage. So that's something to keep in mind. So a quick math is that you count the number of Leylines that you draw already and then Ad Nauseams that you draw. That would actually reduce the amount of life damage that you have here. Since we already drew Leyline of Sanctity plus Ad Nauseam, you go back to roughly about 3.5 to 4.5 or 4 damage per draw. So or less, 2.5 to 3.5. Right, our opponent can either attack us here or dig using the Magmatic Channeler. Honestly, they should have just digged here. Let's see what they're doing. They're doing a Colligan's Command. Alright, that's a good option as well. They're going to destroy Colligan's Command and deal 2 damage or discard a card. As they shown, they have a couple of like hand disruptions in their hand. So that's kind of quite bad. We're going to go with Temple of Enlightenment bottom. That's Serum Visions. We don't need that one, and cast another Pentad Prism. Again, I'm regretting that turn 2 play of Gemstone, not playing that Gemstone Mine. We already took 2 damage. We should be at a virtual 17 here. Alright, they chose to get Blood Crypt. They got 2 lands. So let's see what they play. They're playing Liliana of the Veil. We're going to discard that Gemstone Mine. Then next turn we can go Ad Nauseam if they take up Liliana. Gemstone Mine, perfect. Okay, they're going to activate Magmatic Channeler. They got Blood Moon here. So they're going to play Blood Moon. And in response, we're going to go with Ad Nauseam. Keeping that 1 land in our Pentad Prism, just in case we need to draw blue. Plus, we want to save the Manamorphose in our hand. Serum Visions, Echo, Grace, Simian Spirit, and Leyline. We actually drew more than what we needed. So if you look at our hand, we actually drew 7 cards with an average damage of 2.5 or 1.5 to 2.5 per card. So that's what I was referring to a while ago. Each player discards a card. We're going to discard the Leyline of Sanctity here. Its job is done. Plus we drew the Echoing of Truth. We can bounce the Blood Moon later so that we can unlock. We played a Simian Spirit Guide here as a blocker for Magmatic Channeler. They're going to exile. They got the pillage. They're going to pillage our Pentad Prism. I'm going to let it go just to set for that trap. So yes, my trap here is that if they activate Liliana of the Veil, we're going to Manamorphose and go for Echoing Truth. So the reason why I didn't go with the Pentad Prism play anyway is that they're going to just cross combat and go to their second main. It might be a worthy endeavor, but nonetheless, I took a shortcut. This one, make them discard the Blood Moon, releasing all our mana colors here. We're going to discard the Dark Slick Shores because we have all the mana requirement that we need. Alright, we're going to go with Serum Visions. Alright, we have an Ad Nauseam here in our hand. We have the win next turn. We're going to play that Seachrome Coast tapped so that we have enough damage. They're going to attack. We're going to block with our Simian Spirit Guide. This is somewhat of a risky play for us because if they drew any removal for our Simian Spirit Guide, we would have lost the game. Alright, let's see what they get. That's another Magmatic Channeler. They're going to discard. We're going to discard the City of Brass. Play that Gemstone Mine and next turn win the game. Yep. going to win the game. We're just going to go through the motions here. Show them the hand. We have a Pentad Prism and a Simian Spirit Guide play into the Thassa's Oracle. That's round 1. Let's proceed to round 2. Okay, here we are, round 2. We won the die roll. We're going to go first. Our opponent is revealing to us a Lurus, so it's either Burn, Rakdos, or Hammer Time. This one looks promising. We have 1/2 of the combo plus 2 Serum Visions. We're going to keep this. Our opponent mulligan down to 6. Alright, we don't need these cards. We want to find our win con as fast as possible. Alright, that's an Inspiring Vantage, and they have Rift Bolt suspended, so this one tells me that they are playing some sort of burn deck. We're going to Serum Visions first. That's a Pentad Prism, that's good. We're going to try to conserve life by playing Gemstone Mine. Take our damage, take our beats here. Lava Spike, another Lightning Bolt, Rift Bolt suspended, and we play Pyrexian Unlife here. From Pyrexian Unlife, we increase our life by 10, but we're still not out of the woods here because we need to draw our win condition. Alright, we're going to play Pentad Prism, conserving life, not using our City of Brasses here. Our opponent is just going to town, bolting us down to 1. So usually when you're playing against red, right, their math, if you could see here, but they mulligan down to 6, right? They have an average damage of 18 to 20 of their entire burn spells because most of their spells are casting 3, so it's either 18 to 21, right? They're banking on, since this is modern, a lot of people will be playing fetch, so that's one of the reasons why Uro is actually strong in this format, because that screws up a little bit of the math and keeping all of this red deck wins at bay. So as you can see, I'm down to 1. Opponent has no cards in hand, and I'm just trying to find our win condition. There is another argument for me to cast a Pyrexian Unlife here, but I opted not to, because from my understanding, the red decks doesn't have main board solution for enchantments. So we're just going to try and find our win condition. We're just drawing cards here. Opponent has cycled their Sunbaked Canyon. They're just trying to find a window where they can burn us out. So that's a Lightning Bolt. Okay, there's one thing that you need to understand about the interaction on Pyrexian Unlife. As you can see here, we are under -2, right? We are down -2, and we didn't get 2 poison counter. The reason why is that the Pyrexian Unlife actually deals with instances. So say for example, if you're down to 1 and an opponent has, say, a Urza's Rage dealing you 10 damage, you won't get 9 poison counter. Rather, you go to -9, and then subsequent damage after that, you get poison counter equal to the damage. So that's how it works. It also works in combat. So say for example, if there are no first strikers in your opponent's board, if they attack, all of those combat damage will be counted as one instance, and then you just fall to a negative number. Same is true when you do the Ad Nauseam. Alright, okay, let's skewer the critics. Now we're taking poison damage. This is tricky. So we're basically down to 7 here. Now we can go Ad Naus. So the reason why Ad Naus works here, and I just put in Angel's Grace for a good measure. And let's play Ad Naus, so that you can see how it works with Pyrexian Unlife. So as you can see, alright, let's look. Alright, so as you can see, we have a -4 instead, because the Ad Nauseam actually, you lose life and it doesn't deal damage. So that's a weird interaction between Pyrexian Unlife and Ad Nauseam. Something to think about. You don't get poison counter from Ad Nauseam. Alright, the opponent scooped. Let's go to game 2. Game 2, we are on the draw. We mulligan. That first one was bad because we wanted to get a Leyline of Sanctity here. So we got a Leyline of Sanctity with half of the combo, which is nice. Opponent has kept their 7, so that means they either have a full hand of burn or some form of creature interaction. Alright, Sunbaked Canyon into Eidolon of the Great Revel. Alright, we're going to cast our Pentad Prism here, taking 2 damage. That reduces the amount of cards that we draw. That's a Roiling Vortex. Alright, we take another 2 damage here. Play land, pass the turn. Okay. We are down to 15 here. And we are banking that we can go off. Post damage. All I needed to draw is an Angel's Grace and a Thassa's Oracle. That's all I need. So at end of turn, we will try to go off. Using our Spirit Guides because we want to conserve our life total. Ad Nauseam. So this is where the math comes into play, right? As I made mention a while ago, after board, your Leyline of Sanctity increases the average number of damage that you take from Ad Nauseam. So since I only saw one Leyline and one Ad Nauseam, that means I have 6 more cards that would potentially deal us 4 to 5 damage. Pyrexian Unlife and Leyline of Sanctity is a bad draw in our Ad Nauseam for the first time. We're down to 6. That's a land. Another Pyrexian Unlife, and this is a Serum Visions. So the reason why I gambled for a Serum Visions, wanted to play the odds that we drew another land. However, that's not... Our math is not in our favor. I'm just playing it out here. So one of the mistakes that I also didn't take into account was the Rolling Vortex. I didn't take that one into account. So what I should have done is tap at the first Leyline or the first land that I saw, because I have the Leyline of Sanctity and Spoils of the Vault again to go off next turn. That's what I should have done, so that I only have to take like 7 damage, 8 damage from Rolling Vortex, and another 2 damage for casting Pyrexian Unlife. That would only deal 9 damage to me, plus we have an Unlife protection at a point in time. So yeah, alright, let's go to game 3. Mistakes were made. Game 3, we are on the play. Alright, as always, we kept this because there's 2 Leylines of Sanctity, plus we have a Temple of Deceit into Serum Visions. So functionally, you are going to see 5 cards. Hopefully, one of them is a land. That's a Pentad Prism. That's not what we need. Plus, we also have a Simian Spirit Guide in a pinch. We can Pentad Prism. That's a Monastery's Swift Sphere, which is a good start for our opponent. And now we're going to Serum Visions. Luckily, we get a Dark Slick Shores into Unlife. So we're going to bottom a Spirit Guide and get that Unlife out. We're going to play that land. That's an Eidolon. Alright. We'll take 1 damage. Going to cast Pentad Prism here. So this is a bit of a risky play. I could have cast the Pyrexian Unlife here, using our Simian Spirit Guide. But when I did the math, it's going to set us back a bit further than just risking it on this turn, that they don't have like any artifact hate. Since we already have a Pyrexian Unlife in our hand. There are options, or that might be a mistake, but we are rewarded here by them lava spiking themselves. Alright, we're going to now cast the Pyrexian Unlife. We'll take 9 damage. This increase our life to 10 by 10. Going to attack us. We're down to 6. And then we're going to Serum Visions. We have Ad Nauseam on our hand and an Angel's Grace on top. Nice. We should have this next turn. We can go Ad Nauseam. I just basically bottom the Angel's Grace because we don't need it. I'm just going to go through the motions here. We have, because we can play land, put a Manamorphose, and then Thassa's Oracle. Win the game. Alright, round 3. Game 1, we won the die roll. I'm gonna go first. This looks like a promising keep. We have 2 blooms into Spoil and a Pyrexian Unlife. We only need a Thassa's Oracle to win here. Exile the blooms, play the land, pass the turn. Opponent is playing forests, and that's a Sakura Tribe Scout. Okay, this to me signals that they're playing a Titan variant, so I'm quite relaxed a little bit here. Alright, it's our turn. So we drew the combo. We're going to play the Pyrexian Unlife here. So the reason why we're playing the Pyrexian Unlife is because since we saw... Alright, we'll take a pause here. Since we saw Sakura Tribe Scout a while ago, right? This to me signals that they are not the toolbox version of the Titan deck, which means that they don't have access to the Apprentice, but rather they're playing the Amulet version. That's why I am confident in playing the Praxian Unlife. Plus, we can win the game next turn if we go draw any land. Alright, our opponent is showing that they don't have the Amulet. That's good news for us. We're going to suspend or like remove the counter from suspension. Draw a card. Hopefully we get a land. Oh, that's not a land. Alright, we're going to go with Serum Visions here. Take that 1 damage. Angel's Grace, nice, and Gemstone Mine. Next turn we win. We have a lot of redundancy in our deck. So from this position, even though if they go Titan, they can't win depending on what they get. Let's see what land they get. They got 2 Valakuts. Okay, so this is a bad showing from our opponent from my perspective because they don't have Dryad of the Elysium, I believe. And then that means that a pack of negation won't save them, right? So this tells me that we are open for combo next turn. If they fetch for 2 blue source, that would be different. So I have a Lotus Bloom here, a Lotus Bloom here. Go for Angel's Grace and Thassa's Spoils of the Vault, Thassa's Oracle. Because I know that they can't win. They can't counter. They're signaling to me that they don't have any counter spell, so that's why we went with that play. Alright, that's game 1. Let's go to game 2. Round 3, game 2. Our opponent is playing Titan. This is a mulligan for me. So how did we sideboard against Titan? So we sideboarded out some of the combo pieces, like shave them a little bit, and then put in Path to Exiles and Path or the Slaughter Pacts. We're going to keep this, bottoming the Lightning Storm. Alright, we're keeping this because we have Spoils of the Vault and then Serum Visions. Plus we have a pack of negation. Amulet of Vigor is not good news for us because, alright, we drew the Phyrexian Unlife. That's good. Now we only need a Thassa's Oracle. So an early Amulet here signifies that they may have a early start or like a quick start. If they put in a bounce land here, like that, they can play Dryad of Elysium, play another land, play Explorer, going off. Our opponent is going off. Alright. We drew our combo here. We're going to play the Pentad Prism. And hopefully by next turn, we can play a Phyrexian Unlife. That's a Tolaria West. They're going to transmute it and get the Summoner's Pact. Play land, pass the turn. Next turn we know that they have the... Next turn we know that they have the Titan. And the Tolaria West fetch play signifies that they don't have a redundant Titan at the very least. We'll play that Enlightened Temple of Enlightenment, and we're playing that Phyrexian Unlife. Hopefully the Titan doesn't one-shot us here. Summoner's Pact. Okay, into Titan. Alright, we're going to Pact of Negation this one. Because we don't want them to have access to their Primeval Titan, attack us, and then get their Tolaria West for their counter spells. That's going to be bad for us. So I'd opt to go for the Spoils of the Vault play. It's bad as well for us, but from this position we're just choosing which one is worse. Alright, so we're going to Spoils of the Vault here, Angel's Grace, and then play that land. We have another Spoils of the Vault. So if we top deck another Thassa's Oracle or a Thassa's Oracle, we will win. Yep. Looks like they have something here on hand. So they're exploring. Okay. Golgari Rot Farm. So every time their bounce land comes into play, they produces 4 mana. They bounced back their Timberwolf, which is, I believe, a good addition to the deck as well. Let's see if they're lucky here. Timberwolf Symbiosis. But they already have a land drop, so this is going to be tough. Okay, we're lucky here that they didn't get the Titan from their top 7. That happens from time to time. Unfortunately for our opponent here, we're going to take 2. Okay, take 2 damage. And then Simian Spirit Guide here. Doesn't mean that we win because we need double black for Ad Nauseam. Valakut here deals 3 damage to us. And we're going to take much damage here. We're going to be down to 0. Okay. It's kind of bad. Alright. Finally, what we did there was we Spoils of the Vault for Pentad Prism because we drew Simian Spirit Guide. so that we can convert 2 mana into double black, and then from there cast Ad Nauseam. It's still risky because they could have the Pact of Negation, but luckily they don't have it. So that's round 3. This is round 4, game 1. We lost the die roll. We are on the draw here. I will keep this because we don't know what our opponent is playing. Thus, we have one half of the combo for Pyrexian Unlife and Angel's Grace. Opponent goes first and they're playing Urza's Mine. This to me says that they're playing Tron. Expedition map is not something you want to see. Turn 1. So we drew the Lotus Bloom there. That signals to our opponent what our playing is. We're going to play the Temple of Deceit, and City of Brass is something that we're not looking forward to. But I'm under the impression that we can keep it. Actually, no. Let's not keep that one. Alright, we're lucky. They didn't get another Urza or a Tron land to pair with their Expedition map. That's good for us. This one is a Mind Stone. This to me signals that they're playing the Karn Wish variant or a Eldrazi Tron variant. Suspend. Alright, we kept the City of Brass. We're going to do the Serum Visions because we want to do a double Serum Vision play. We're going to bottom that land and get that Ad Nauseam into our hand. Play that land, cast a Serum Visions. In this match, we need to find our Pact of Negations interaction spells because next turn we have a Pyrexian Unlife into a potential Ad Nauseam on turn 4. So we just need to find some form of interaction. Alright, they're going to use the Expedition map here, look for an Eldrazi Temple, confirms our suspicion they're playing Eldrazi, and plays Matter Reshaper, the only card that they can play here. Alright, nice. This is the third turn. We're going to cast that in Pyrexian Unlife. We have a Pact of Negation to counter their Thought-Knot Seer. Feels good. Hopefully they don't have anything here. Okay. That's a Mind Stone. They cracked their Mind Stone. Anything but a Thought-Knot Seer I will be countering. So I will let anything through except a Thought-Knot Seer. They didn't do anything. Lotus Bloom comes into play, and then from here we win the game. Cast that Bloom, draw a card, play that land, go through the motions. Yep, that's an Ad Nauseam. We're just going to show them our win condition. And there, let's go for a Thassa's Oracle win. And let's proceed to game 2. Alright, here we are at game 2, match 4. We are on the draw. This looks like we have the combo piece, all of the combos in our hands, so we're going to keep this. Urza Mine again on their turn. We're going to Temple of Enlightenment, Pact of Negation. We're going to keep that one because we want to make sure that our hand doesn't get disrupted. We have a lot of redundancy. However, they have a Tron land here. It's going to be tough for us, but we'll try to make do with what we have. Luckily that they don't have the Tron here. I was afraid of countering or being forced to counter their Urza, or no, not Urza, their Karn, the big Karn. However, unlucky still that they have Cavern of Souls here. They're going to name Eldrazi. If they go with Thought-Knot Seer, we'll be in trouble. Yikes, this looks like a Thought-Knot Seer to me. Alright, if I am the opponent here, I won't be taking either Pyrexian Unlife or Angel's Grace because they're functionally the same. Spoils of the Vault is a better option to take because that gives me a lot of outs rather than Thassa's Oracle. So for me, I'll be taking Spoils of the Vault. You can also argue to go either Thassa's Oracle, but Angel of Grace is bad. Alright, let's see what they get. Oof, they remove Angel of Grace. I don't agree with that. However, they made their decision, their bet, so yeah. Boom. Play that land, cast Pyrexian Unlife, and next turn, if they don't have another Thought-Knot Seer, we will win the game. Alright. Let's see what they get. That's 4 to cast. That's a Karn. We're going to let it resolve. They're going to search. I don't think they can search anything here that will prevent us from winning, except for a Chalice. I don't think they have one. Even their mana won't allow them to do so. So we'll take 4 damage here and next turn win the game. We also have a Pact of Negation to secure us the win. Boom. Since they're playing monocolored, I don't think they have a counterspell here. So let's go Spoils of the Vault, name a card outside of the game, take that match damage, and cast Thassa's Oracle. Win the game. Alright, round 4 is done. So far, 4-0. Let's go for that 5-0. Alright, last round of the match. We're going to go with 5-0. Hopefully we go 5-0. We won the die roll first. Our opponent is playing Lugurus. And either they go Hammer Time, Rakdos, or Burn. So we're going to keep this. It's one half of the combo. We have Correction Unlife plus we have a Lotus Bloom on opening hand. So suspend Lotus Bloom. Go for Temple. Reason why we went with Temple first is because we only have a Correction Unlife. So we can go Serum Visions and then Temple of Enlightenment. But usually we go Temple first. So our opponent seems to be playing Hammer Time. Yep, they're playing Hammer Time. We play Temple first so that the reason why is that we can dig deeper. Because if you go Serum Vision first and you like what you see, therefore your Temple of Enlightenment, it's kind of bad. So from here, I'll show you what I mean. I see Serum Visions here. I'm going to cast the Serum Visions here. Draw the Ad Nauseam because we bottom the Serum Visions. We have the Correction Unlife and a redundant Correction Unlife. I needed the land. We're going to cast the Unlife next turn. That's a Sigarda's Aid. We're going to take 10 damage here. I'm expecting, because the only time they play Sigarda's Aid is because they have Colossus Hammer. We are virtually in a 2-turn clock. That's one of the reasons why this deck gained popularity as of late. Luckily, we have the Correction Unlife. We actually bottomed that land because we have the Lotus Bloom next turn, ensuring that we can cast Ad Nauseam plus a Pack of Negation back up. Yep, we're going to take this damage, no problem. Down to 0, no problem. Still Shaper's Gift. Colossus Hammer. Alright, you might be wondering why they didn't attack with both Ornithopter, precisely because of the how Correction Unlife works. So it doesn't matter if I take 20 damage that turn, I won't be getting 20 or 10 poison counter because it counts as one instance. Therefore, I'll just be down -10. It's a Lotus Bloom. Put it into play. My turn. That's another Ad Nauseam. Cast Ad Nauseam. Then from here, I'm just going to go autopilot mode. Alright, so our opponent had enough. We're going to game 2, sideboard. We're going to be on the draw here. So how we sideboarded against this types of matchup is the same way we sideboard against Titan. We put in some creature hate in the form of Path to Exile and Pact. And however, there's one difference. I put in some Spell Pierce because their deck is weak against Spell Pierce. Especially their mana configuration is a bit on the low side. So it's very much, if you Spell Pierce one of their key cards, then there's a high chance that they're not going to win the game. One of the reasons why I do that one as well is that when you're playing against this type of deck, they are prone to mulligans because the deck has a low mana count. Therefore, they are prone to, again, the mulligan that I made mention. I'm going to keep this because we have one half of the combo in the form of Angel's Grace. Plus, we have Pented Prism and Temple of Enlightenment to ramp. Opponent plays a Mishra's Bauble. No threats, turn 1. That's good. Opponent goes with Mishra's Bauble. We drew the Lotus Bloom. Nice. Temple of Enlightenment. Dark Slick Shores. Something that we don't need at the moment, so we're going to bottom that one. Alright, our opponent played a Silent Clearing, and that's a Mystic Forge. Search for that specific hammer. Nice hammer time. Hammer time! Alright, I'm still going to play the Pented Prism here because I want to curve out. So if we are forced to Spell Pierce, so be it. Plus we also have a Lotus Bloom, so I'm not too worried. Sigarda's Aid, quite okay to counter this one. But to be honest, there are items going into my mind right now. So it's either I counter the hammer or counter the Sigarda's Aid, right? To me, there are a couple other... There are much more equipment than Sigarda's Aid, so that's the reason why I counter Sigarda's Aid. There's only 4 Sigarda's Aid in the deck. However, that's another Sigarda's Aid. Unlucky. But we delay their turn by hammering us. So we could be hammered next turn. That's fine. We're still not on the clear here because we don't have the combo. That's a Serum Visions. We're going to cast that one first. Nice. We have the Ad Nauseam and Angel's Grace. We're going to bottom the Angel's Grace and keep the Ad Nauseam. Because next turn we can Slaughter Pact if we need to. Because an Angel's Grace can save us. Plus we can pay for the Slaughter Pact. Alright, we're going to take this. I'm not sure why they're not attacking with the Ornithopter. Colossus, sure. Play that one on the hammer, on the Mystic Forge. So from this position, right, I'm just trying to bait out whether they have a counter. This keeps us at a healthy life of 19. We can stack this in this manner. So on the 4th turn, you can pay for any of your Slaughter Pack as long as you suspended your Lotus Bloom on turn 1. So just stack it in a manner wherein Slaughter Pack resolves last. So in this case, it doesn't matter because we have Angel's Grace, cast the Lotus Bloom, and the reason why our opponent scooped here is because they saw that our next draw is a Ad Nauseam. And then from there, it's just basically we win the game. We play a land, sack Lotus Bloom, and go for the Thassa's Oracle win. Alright, that's 5-0. There you have it, guys. We actually 5-0'd that specific lead. It's right there. So if you're looking for a surprise attack or sneak attack, oldie but goodie in your local meta game, consider picking up this deck. Alright, that's all for now. If you're looking for other gameplay reviews and analysis, here's my list. And you can also catch me live on my stream. Alright, that's me, signing off. As always, stay safe.